Bubble, bubble, toil, and trouble. Something wicked this way comes. In its brand new adaptation of Shakespeare's Macbeth from writer director Joel Coen. It's called The Tragedy of Macbeth. I'm going to give you my thoughts about it next. Hey everyone, it's the Outlaw John Rocha. How are you? I'm back with another review for you on the Outlaw Nation channel. And today I'm talking about The Tragedy of Macbeth, this brand new adaptation of Shakespeare's tragedy by writer-director Joel Coen, going solo this time without Ethan Coen. And I'm going to let you know what I thought about it in just a second. But first, I want to remind you all to please subscribe to the channel down below. Hit that subscribe button, hit that bell button so you see when we're dropping all the new content we do here on the Outlaw Nation channel. You know, reviews, trailer reactions, pre-produced videos, live shows, so much happening here on the channel. So support us by hitting that subscribe button and hitting that bell button. And if you're on Twitch, follow and subscribe to me there on Twitch as well. A lot of stuff coming in 2022 on the Twitch channel, the Outlaw Nation. And later I'll let you know how you can be part of the Patreon and have a more of an interactive element to your support of the Outlaw Nation channel. All right, let's get into this review here. As I said, from writer-director Joel Coen, adapting the play by himself on this one. You know, a few years ago, we had a version of Macbeth that was released as a film starring Michael Fassbender, Marianne Cotillard, and a who's who of incredible actors. And it kind of stripped everything down, removed all the humor. It was this dark, somber, gritty, rainy, overcast approach to Macbeth, which I thoroughly enjoyed. So I wasn't sure I was ready to see another version of Macbeth here, even from a director as great as Joel Coen. But I'll tell you, I was absolutely wrong because I absolutely enjoyed this adaptation here. It stars Denzel Washington as Macbeth, Frances McDormand as Lady Macbeth. You've got Brendan Gleeson as King Duncan, Corey Hawkins as Macduff, and Harry Melling there for you Harry Potter fans as Malcolm. Really enjoyed the approach that Joel Coen did with this movie. Love the German expressionist approach he had. It's in 4:3. It is in black and white. He uses a lot of high ceilings and stark beams of light that burn through some darkness. There's a noir aspect. If you're a cinephile fan, you understand German expressionism. You can go back and watch like The Cabinet of Dr. Caligari, Nosferatu. There's so many great examples of German expressionism in its approach. So if you're going to do a new adaptation of Shakespeare's Macbeth, you got to have something new to say, something interesting to say, and I think the film does. And first of all, let's start with the message of the movie. And yes, it's not some groundbreaking message, but it's still a message that we need to hear nowadays, especially in our political climate and in our worlds. This idea of striving for power by any means necessary, by lying, cheating, stealing, killing, murdering, backstabbing in order to achieve power, it just ends up with you on a throne wearing some rickety crown. I love the design of the crown. It's not this big grandiose thing. It's this gold trinket that sits barely on top of his head. And in the end, people are waiting for you to be taken out of power by someone they deem to be a hero who has earned his right to sit on the throne. So those are those kinds of things that are that echo into our own worlds nowadays, as we see so many politicians strive for power by saying or doing anything, hardly having any real feelings to the things that they're saying, because all they're looking for is power, because they think that means importance in this world, when in fact it means quite the opposite. In the long run. Let's go to the acting here. Denzel Washington, absolutely fantastic in this role. Should receive an Oscar nomination for what he does here. You know, we've seen Denzel take on these roles in the past. We saw him in Fences. He was fantastic in Fences. But in this film, it's a more restrained performance. It's a more linear performance. What he's doing, what he's showing you, it is working on multiple levels. But as he's looking at the camera, as he's not using the usual tricks that you've seen him do in the past. Yeah, there are moments of levity, moments of warmth where he touches Banquo's shoulder or whatever. But for the most part, he's a guy who's very much observing and experiencing at the same time. You almost sense that he is doing this whole thing as an out-of-body experience. Yeah, and he seems almost like swept along into everything that is happening here. He has a warrior's confidence. He's been in so many battles. He is so revered, so beloved as a soldier, that he has this kind of relaxed confidence in everything that he's doing that, of course, leads to a bit of hubris, which leads to his downfall in a fantastic fight sequence on a walkway at the top of the castle between him and Corey Hawkins' Macduff. And I thought his performance here, it's something to savor and enjoy. And he's an older Macbeth, and I'm going to tell you why that's important. I'm going to connect that to Frances McDormand, who also does an incredible job here as Lady Macbeth. It's a different Lady Macbeth. It's a proactive and less proactive Lady Macbeth. She's not bloodthirsty. She's not hungry. She's not desperate. It had shades of Throne of Blood for me, the Lady Macbeth in Throne of Blood, the Kurosawa adaptation of Macbeth. A woman who senses finally their opportunity for power after being married to this man for such a long time and being there and letting him go and do all those wars and waiting for him. Finally, she sees an opportunity here to seize some power. To me, it feels like they have been here serving the kingdom for such a long time. They probably sacrificed having children or couldn't even have children. So the only thing they've had is his successes and her living with his successes and not staking her own claim. Well, this is something that she can have for herself. And then Lady Macbeth, as the character starts to lose her mind, you see Frances stripping away the emotion as she descends into madness, because to her, what she's saying, what she's thinking is very matter of fact. So the madness can seem devoid of emotion because it seems rational to the person who is losing their mind, all the things that she's saying. And so I really appreciated that. And I want to give some more love to Corey Hawkins, who does a fantastic job as Macbeth. I've played Macduff. It's not an easy role. You only get so much stage time or screen time, and you've got to make the most of it. And his reaction when he finds out what happens to his family is so devastating. And then his battle with Denzel Washington on that walkway, as I mentioned earlier, is fantastic because you're watching an older black actor going toe-to-toe with a younger black actor, and the difference in philosophies. You're almost watching two different generations of black men arguing about the approach to power, about the right and wrong way to do it. And it's phenomenal to watch. I also want to give some love to two other actors in this movie who you may not know about, and I didn't know that much about before I started watching this movie. One of them is Catherine Hunter. She plays the witches, all three witches as one person. Her physical interpretation of the witches is incredible. Her body is so lithe. It moves so interestingly throughout the movie, and the way she uses her voice and the gravelly back area of her voice to convey this kind of menace and doom from her from the witches' prognostications is so well done. And when she pops up in random moments on beams at the top of a castle through the misty, foggy beaches there that Macbeth is walking, it's a fantastic new interpretation of the witches that I thoroughly love. Also want to give some love to Alex Hassel, who is incredible as Ross. You know, I didn't anticipate Ross being such an essential part of this interpretation. Like, he's showing up at all these events, all the important events of the movie. He's showing up and commenting on it and giving advice and giving updates and all of this. And such an interesting thing to see how Joel Coen weaved him in and out of the movie. I also want to give some love to Mary Zophres' costume design. It is fantastic throughout the movie. I highlight Ross's outfit. He's essentially wearing a black long dress, but he's a man. So I love that it conveys a little bit of a fluid sexuality to his interpretation of the character. The way he moves is slightly feminine at times, yet, of course, very much masculine as well. And really enjoyed Lady Macbeth's dresses. They have this thickness of material to them, almost like her own armor. And as she slips into madness, how that starts to become more frayed as a reflection of what's happening to her internally. And I think Carter Burwell's music does wonders here in this movie to give you more of the overall foreboding danger and menace and eventual tragedy of the film. Also want to give some love to the cinematography here from Bruno Delbonnay. If you're going to do German expressionism, this is a hell of a task to take on. You've got to get it right. You've got to kind of evoke what people remember of German expressionism. And I think him, along with Joel Coen, do a fantastic job with the camera angles, the camera placement, these large castles that have this brutal architecture feel to them, the sharp corners, the edges, the wide spaces, and the way they use the light and the dark. I also enjoy the flourishes that Joel Coen puts into this movie. I mean, you see a crown hurtling through the air. You see the windows fly open with these leaves blowing through to kind of convey the coming of fall, the coming of madness, the coming of the end, the way the wood moves back and forth in this kind of almost musically based kind of approach to the castle. All of that adds such an interesting element to this adaptation. If there are things I could ding it for, I wish it was a little bit longer. I'm a Shakespeare fan, so getting to sit even longer in a theater to enjoy these two actors bringing to life these classic characters of Macbeth and Lady Macbeth would have been a fun thing to experience for sure. I also think there are switches of emotion or intention that happen quickly in the film that, although the text supports it, I don't feel 100% is earned by the actors. It doesn't feel organic necessarily. It feels like, okay, this is when she's supposed to be insane. This is when he's supposed to be despondent or desperate, as opposed to having it be more of an organic procession that they use the text to convey and to show. It feels like, boom, I'm supposed to be crazy now. Boom, I'm supposed to be despondent. So overall, I give The Tragedy of Macbeth 4.25 cowboy hats out of 5 cowboy hats. This was such an incredible film to experience in the theater, to watch these two master actors in Denzel Washington and Frances McDormand take on these classic Shakespearean characters and add new life, new interesting approaches, new points of views that I had not seen before. Love Joel Coen's direction, love the costuming, really enjoyed the German expressionist point of view that he was style rather that he was diving into in doing this adaptation, and it was gutsy. I know I've seen some critics kind of bash him for it or make fun of him for it. Screw that shit. Look, at the time when people are not even remembering these movements or studying these movements, when kids nowadays, when critics nowadays have no idea of the history of cinema, it was great to see a director kind of go back in time to make something new out of something old. All right, well, if you get a chance to see the film, let me know what you thought about it in the comments section below. What stood out to you? What didn't stand out for you? Did it work for you? Are you a Shakespeare hardcore person? And did you enjoy this interpretation of the Bard's work? Let me know down there. Also, let me know what you thought of this review in the comments section below. Remember to hit a like on this video and share it on your social media. When you share it on social media, you're telling your friends and family, hey, the Outlaw Nation is a cool place to come and enjoy some content. And speaking of the Outlaw Nation, please remember to subscribe to the channel down below. Hit that subscribe button, hit that bell button so you see when we're dropping all the new content we do here on the Outlaw Nation channel. And head on over to Twitch. Follow and subscribe to me there on Twitch. I'm going to do so much in 2022 on Twitch, so come and hang out with me there. Let's get to 1,000 subscribers or followers on Twitch as soon as possible, so I can do even more content there on that platform. And if you want to support us and have an interactive element and get some benefits for supporting everything we do here on the Outlaw Nation channel, then head on over to the Patreon, patreon.com/John Rocha, and see all the multiple tiers you can be a part of and the multiple benefits you get from your support of the Outlaw Nation channel. All right, take care of yourselves. Be well. Go and enjoy this one. Bubble, bubble, toil, and trouble. I think you'll enjoy it. And I'll talk to you next time with another brand new review here from the Outlaw Nation.